Welcome back to 5-Minute Faction, the series where we spend 5 minutes less to modify factions, main mechanics, Zetas, Omicron's team comp mods, and 5 most common encounters in 3v3 and 5v5 Grand Arena. Today we're talking about the Starkiller, Aligned Force User, Sith Jedi team, just the Starkiller team. Core, we have Palpatine, we have Mara, and we have Starkiller. That is almost never going to change. Main mechanic-wise, basically, Starkiller's unique adds a ton of stats to the team, 100% crit damage, max HP, protection, 35 speed, you're immune to daze and stun. And then the Omicrons for Grand Arena make Jedi tanks taunt when he uses a special. It gives them speed, debuffed enemies do 50% less damage, SK assists on Palpatine or whoever the Sith is, Mara using a special gives crit hit immunity, and SK special makes light side tanks taunt, and healers reduce their cooldowns, and damage immunity as well for your Jedi tank. He does need, and we'll pull up the unique, because this is really important, just to make sure it's super clear. He needs exactly 1 Jedi, 1 Sith, 1 light side aligned Force user, 1 dark side aligned Force user. So, Sith, dark side aligned Force user, Jedi, light side aligned Force user. Those are flexible. Unfortunately, the Sith and the dark side UFU, those are the best two. You'll occasionally see some Trey stuff, but either way, we gotta keep on rolling here. Zetas, vital Zetas here, going to be Palpatine lead to get turn meter gain, his debuffs are expiring. Is giving him some extra TM, which, believe it or not, Palp looping over and over again is super important on his basic to be calling Starkiller to assist, or when those staggers are expiring, or when you get a kill to keep him pushing that turn meter on. SK basic, making his basic and AoE on his turn, just does a truckload of damage. It is obscenely powerful. I know it doesn't sound great, but on paper it doesn't seem great, but in practice it is absurd. SK's unique 1 force energy makes the team immune to fear, gives them extra counter chance, crit chance, defense dependent offense. It's a huge chunk of stats. 20% of all of that plus the immune to fear does make this a very, very important Zeta for the team. Good Zetas, so just 1 step down, but still strong. Palpatine unique, so this is to make his max protection be way higher, as well as he'll be gaining max protection throughout. This is basically probably not as important in 5v5, but in 3v3, this is really important to make sure Palpatine doesn't get sniped out of the team by like a Ray, Whirlwind, or anything like that, so that he doesn't just get absolutely ripped out the get-go. Mara Special 2, which is Special 2 Infiltrate and Disrupt, giving Palpatine more turn meter gain for the reasons we already talked about before. Whenever Palpatine is doing his basic, he is calling Starkiller to assist. In case I didn't make that abundantly clear, anytime a Sith does basic ability, Starkiller is assisting. And then Juhani, and that is purely for the access to the Omicron. The Zeta itself is not very good, but you want this so you can get this. But if you're not going to do the TW Ami, don't do the Zeta. Luxury Zetas, and this is going to depend on what Jedi tank you bring here. Both of Old Ben's Zetas are luxury, the one that makes his taunt last longer when it expires, as well as when he dies, the extra healing, protection, and recovery. Zetas to skip Mara Special 1 Ultimate Predator. She's not the damage dealer, so who cares? It's just not that good. And then Visas unique is straight up terrible. When she has no debuff, she has a 60% chance to assist when another ally attacks Sith enemies once per turn. How many Sith enemies you fighting, and how many times are you not debuffed, and she does no damage, basically. She just has the cleanse thing on her basic. And then I would say both of Baby Cal, both of his Zetas for this team. They're just not that good with this team. And a proper UFU team, sure, but both of his are just not that important for this team. They're not going to change very much. Speaking of that, let's talk more about our Omicrons here, and then we'll shift in, bringing up the Juhani thing. So Omis, the must-have is the Starkiller unique, which is the entire point of the team. There's much conflict in you. I don't know if we have time to read this whole thing. It might take me 5 minutes to read all. We're already at 4. Basically, loads of stats, immunities, special abilities, taunting, just obscene stats, and everything else under the sun. This is what makes Starkiller team the Starkiller team. The other amazing Omicron here is the Juhani Cathar Resilience. Basically adds a ton of assisting and durability to the team so that it effectively functions like a similar to the Starkiller GAC lineup, so you're strong in GAC and Territory Wars. Good, you know, in my opinion, but not like a must-have. But it is extremely strong. Is Force Repulse. So this lets you deal with Ray essentially. Like you could do Ray without this, but this makes it worlds easier because you rip all the crit hit immunity off the start to immediately start dispelling all that inspiration on the Ray team, as well as anything else you're fighting. An AoE buff dispel is really, really strong. The one that you could maybe skip that I've skipped here is Boundless Force Throw. While unleashed, dispel all debuffs on allies and the buff and healing immunity cannot be copied, dispelled, or resisted. Essentially, though, most battles when he hits Unleashed, you've already won the battle, so this is just extra security. It's more helpful if you're doing like a Jabba cleanup or a Lord Vader cleanup or something like that. Outside of those, you shouldn't do it. You just don't need to. It's not bad though. It's one of those where you just don't really need it. Team comp wise, like I already said, those are the core 3. Jedi tanks, I listed most common to least common essentially. You've got Old Ben that's really common here, or Juhani, especially if you're in Territory War. Hopefully you have the Ami, you're doing Juhani. Plo Koon I've seen used often, but he's not really anything special. Mace I don't see used often, but I did want to mention you can use him here. I didn't mention his Ami or Zeta. I'm not mentioning Zeta, Zombies, or mods for any of these 3 here. But these are the main 2, Old Ben and GAC, Juhani and Territory War, or Old Ben in both. Light side UFUs, Visas is the most common because she does have a revive, but she's not required for anything, so you will see people sub in Cal Kestis here with a little bit of healing, and he gives a lot of max health to the unaligned force users on his team, which can be nice. Starkiller loves his max health. And Scav Ray, if you just need to fill the requirement of having an online force user there and you didn't want to gear Visas, you don't have a Relic Cal, you can just throw Scav Ray, JTR, anything like that in there just to fill the Starkiller unique requirement, and you will see success. Let's talk about mods. I know we're very behind on time here. Speed potency on Palpatine. Speed potency is what .gg has for Mara. Speed health is also completely fine. Just make sure you have a potency primary on your cross. Offense. Health for Starkiller, either crit damage or health here, then health. You want tons of health. And Old Ben, triple health is fine, but speed potency is the most common, just to have him fast, get the turn meter reduction and ability blocks off of Old Ben. I apologize for the yawn. Triple health on Juhani is completely normal, not checking mods on these 2, but triple health on Juhani and speed potency here, or triple health there. On UFUs, triple health for both Cal and Visas, just lots of health, lots and lots of health. Alright, let's talk about 5 most common counters in 3, 3, and 5 pound Grand Arena, and then I'll get you out of here a couple minutes late. 5s, the most common counters are Reva, JMK, Commander Luke with a 34% win rate, Mir with an 80% win rate, GG Seps with BB-8 or Newt for about a 65% win rate. I will say again, these are the most seen counters of what's happening the most, what's most likely to be used on your Starkiller if it's on defense. But I will note that Starkiller had an incredibly strong cron last 5-5 season, and we don't have new data outside of that yet. So I will say those percentages should bump up now that the cron is gone. In 3s, Reva, Mir, CLS on Chewie. I apologize. CLS on Chewie with about a 64% win rate. JMK and Sith Eternal Wat Tambor. This has been 5 Minute Fashions. I owe you 3 minutes. I'm sorry about that, and I'll see you in the next one.